joining me for another episode. Very nice to see you again. We've got a lot going on at the moment. We're going to go up north and see my friend who bought my old kit car from me. Then we're going to come all the way back down south. I'm going to do a first start. I'm going to walk you through the way that I do it. It's not scientifically proven, it's just kind of the way that I do things. Then we're going to get it off the trailer. If all of that goes well, I'm going to dismantle it. Take it a bit, see where that goes. Up to the Northlands. Okay, so here I am in my friend Russell's garage up in Coventry. He's the one that's been busting his balls with this chassis. You bought this car from me how long ago?
18 months.
18 months ago. Took it on the road.
Yep.
Took the kids out. We did a track day.
Did one track day.
Autumn Park.
Cold day. Yeah.
Cold day.
November.
Went well.
Went well. Yep.
My car went well. That's when we realised that actually my car's not that much quicker than Russell's, because Russ can pedal and I wasn't easily getting away. So that was when I was starting thinking that I need a rolling road and see what's going on. So Russ, do you want to talk us through what's going on?
Yep. So car's pretty much down to chassis. Got all the pads, the big stuff off. Plan is to put a 4 cage in, check the worlds, do any kind of minor repairs, get it shot blasted, repowder coated, and then start the rebuild. A few little challenges to get to kind of fix to get round. One is the drilling out of rivets, how to get rid of all the rivets that are going to be inside that chassis.
Rattling around so it doesn't sound like one of them rain toys. They go around the track.
So a few ideas on some of the main long tubes. We'll chop the ends on one of them and try and get as much as we can.
Yeah, it's kind of either you chop the end off and try and shake them out, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe wax oil inside to try and just stick them to the inside. Or just make sure you've got a noisy exhaust and
Well, yeah.
you can't hear it.
And not care. Just send it gravel.
Yeah.
Mixture of everything, I suppose, really. Try and do it in a reasonably quick time so we can get back out on the road this summer.
Yeah. So here we are in February now, so probably only got a couple of months before you're going to be wanting to get out and about.
Yep. Yeah.
And then hopefully we get some track days back in the summer, maybe.
At least a couple or so, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it depends on what's going on with my car as well. See what happens with that, right?
Yep.
Hopefully getting the supercharger off, and I'm going to need a remap, and who knows what else I find as well. Cool. Super. So yeah. Okay, so we're just going to go through some intricacies, because this is interesting that we've got this chassis down to bare bones. Even when me and Russ were looking at the differences between this and the red one, there are some differences that we can spot within the design of the chassis. Now, these are both raw chassis. I think they were manufactured around 4 or 5 years apart from each other. But in that time, there were some tweaks made. Same engine, same gearboxes, everything about it's very same. Independent rear suspension, inboard front rockers. So, you know, we're quite surprised to see some bits. So just going to do a quick walk through some bits which we think are interesting, maybe a bit surprising about chassis design. An example, one of these is this upright here. This little plate is for the rocker. So the rocker mounts down on this bolt here and comes across onto here. Obviously feeds across. Suspension mounts are down the bottom here. And it just seems so small. Bearing in mind that is one of the 2 mountings for the upright rocker. Yeah, go on, chuck it in, yeah.
Chuck it in, do a demo.
Yeah, so this is kind of slides through and then it just kind of goes in and bolts up. And kind of you just push it all the way home and tighten it up. Now there is a sussy bar that goes across from one side to the other to kind of tie these in, so I guess it's not that crucial. So that's one of the things that we spotted, which is quite weird. A difference, if you like, between the chassis that we've seen is just simply this triangulation here. The triangulation on my red one is a lot tighter, it's a lot further into the corner where Russell's one comes out. Posit is off that. Obviously if this is coming out, then that's going to brace the centre of the bar a bit better, so I would speculate that this is probably a stronger design. I mainly come up here to catch up with a good old friend Russ and have a snoop around his car, see how he's getting on. But we took the opportunity to help him out and ride with him to a company called Tube Benders, putting the chassis in the back of the van, unloading it, sitting him in it, taking some measurements, deciding what we wanted before we got back to his to watch some rugby, eat some fish and chips and drink plenty of beers. We really needed them beers. We picked up 2 yellow cards and only just about beat Wales. Anyway, back to roll cages and cars. So what we have here is the chassis back. They took some measurements. I didn't bother with any video just because they're really busy. Just got a couple of pictures. But yeah, they took measurements for the front roll hook, which is going to tuck inside here, weld a plate down the bottom, obviously fix the roll cage. It's going to come up, across, down the other side, and there's going to be a couple of uprights which then go towards the back section of the chassis. And so Russ needs to kind of choose where they need to be. They're going to be overcut in length, and then he can kind of mark up where he wants the bend to be and what kind of angle. And so the tube bender guys can then, you know, do the notching to help all the bars settle and nestle together. So that's it for this garage for now. I'll try and keep you updated with Russell. We're going to shoot back to mine now. We can do a first start after several months on my car, go through that process with you, and I'm going to get it off the trailer. That'll be fun, won't it? So I've started to set my car up ready for its first start after about 3 months. Some of the things that I've started to do, so as you can see here, I've put a bendable tube which is airtight into the end of the exhaust, and it bends down and goes out the door, and that just helps the fumes disappear and, you know, doesn't stink the garage too much out. The other thing which you can probably hear is I put a hot air gun up against the sump, and I just put some heat into the sump just to try and get the oil nice and warm. This is something I remember seeing on a TV programme Scandinavians do with preheaters on the bottom of the sumps, and just get the oil nice and warm beforehand. The other thing I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to whip the spark plugs out, and then I'll just spin it over a couple of times. That's going to get the oil pressure up and the nice oil circulated a little bit. Then I'll put the spark plugs back in, then hopefully it's going to crank and start first time. It's so good to hear that car start again, and a massive relief after it's sitting there for 2 months. But now it's time to see daylight, so we're just going to pull this out to get it off the trailer and then back in. Pulling the car out is really easy. It only weighs 560 kilos and the trailer another couple of hundred. So it's not too bad to just pull it out into some space to get the ramps off, and then I can get the car off. Getting the ramps out isn't too bad. It's just a case of sliding them out of their cages, and then I have little bolts which drop down and nylocks, keeping them in line with the wheels. I have to remove straps as I go because I'm paranoid about the car rolling off as I'm doing all this. And then I have to put axle stands underneath to just brace the trailer, stop it from tipping back. And I also put ones underneath the ramps again to just brace them. And then it's a case of just starting the car and getting it off. Really glad to get her off the trailer on her own 4 wheels. Reminds me actually of how low she is in comparison to being up on the trailer all the time. So I've spun her around, got some more space at the front here, which means we can work on the front of the car because, disclosure, what I'm going to do is get the supercharger off. I'm going to get it sent to Superchargers UK. I'm going to upgrade it from the C3084, which it is at the moment, to a C3094 Gen 2 spec with a T2 upgrade, which means it's going to have more capacity, more boost, more capability of delivering more power on the rolling road. I think that's about it for this episode. So please do comment below with things that you like, you dislike, you want to see, you don't want to see, you agree with or don't agree with. I'm sure there'll be some of that. If you've got a 4Age, then I'll be interested. If you've got a Raw Striker or a kit car, do track days, all of that. Let's engage. Let's get some comments down below and we'll go from there. Peace out.